the Acts of the Apostles. We're going to look at chapter 2, chapter 2, verses 1 through 13, which deals with what happens on Shavuot. We're doing our comprehensive look at the Acts of the Apostles and separating this whole book out by its pericopes, by its natural divisions, according to the actual writer of the book, who we've determined to be Luke. And so the things that he talks about all in one situation, we're going to deal with those kind of one subject at a time. And so right now we want to read from verse 1 of chapter 2, verse 1, and we'll read down to verse 13. And we'll talk about the things that we see inside of there.
Acts chapter 2, verse 1. And when the day of the festival of Shavuot had come, they were all with one mind in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from the heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And they appeared to them divided tongues as a fire, and settled on each one of them. And they were all filled with set apart spirit, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them to speak. Now in Jerusalem there were dwelling Yehudim, dedicated men from every nation under the heaven. And when this sound came to be, the crowd came together and were confused, because everyone heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying to each other, "Look, are not all these who speak Galileans? And how do we hear each one in our own language, in which we were born? Parthians and Medes and Elamites, and those dwelling in Aram, Naharaim, both Yehuda and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, both Phrygia and Pamphylia, Mitzrayim, and the parts of Libya around Cyrene, visitors from Rome, both Yehudim and converts, Cretans and Arabs, where we hear them speaking in our own tongues the great deeds of Elohim. And they were all amazed and were puzzled, saying to each other, "What does this mean?" And others mocking said, "They have been filled with sweet wines."
Okay, very good. So let's go back to the beginning. There's a lot to kind of talk about here in these 13 verses. We go back to verse 1 here, and this was, of course, the day of the festival of Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks. And they were all in one accord. Shavuot, at this point, had come. They were waiting for it to come. They were talking about, this promise to be coming to pass. They had some minor, I guess they were kind of major loose ends that they wanted to seal up and get together and situated before this happened. There was only 11 of them. They needed to have 12. That's how Yeshua set it up. They need to get all of that stuff together before this happened. They were waiting for a thing to happen. Yeshua the whole time. The last thing that Yeshua spoke to them about at Passover, by the way, he spoke to them about what was going to happen on Shavuot. He spoke to them at great length And the majority of what he spoke to them about was what would take place at this time, which kind of implies the great importance of this time. So they were waiting for this feast to come about. They were waiting for these 50 days. They were waiting for these 7 complete weeks plus a day to happen. And they were waiting all the way from Pesach. You know, we know that the way that it was set up here, there's a connection between Pesach, Feast of Unleavened Bread, and Shavuot. But the way that Yeshua kind of set this whole thing up kind of increases this connection and affirms it. The fact that Pesach and Shavuot are directly connected to one another, extensions of one another. They're their own thing. It's so interesting. Pesach, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Shavuot, they're their own thing, but they're connected. They're directly connected to one another. It's the first set of feasts in the annual calendar of the Most High. But interestingly enough, the last feast in the calendar of the Most High has these separate, distinct feasts that are connected to one another. The last day, the 8th day, isn't Sukkot, but it's obviously directly connected to Sukkot, because why then would it be called 8 if there's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? But Sukkot is only 7 days long. The 8th day isn't Sukkot, but it's directly connected to it.
That's why when I see the list of feasts and Sukkot is the last feast on that list, the Feast of Tabernacles, it kind of like shows the lack of Torah.
Oh my goodness! Wow,
because the last great day is
you're such an elitist.
its own thing. You don't even have to be intense on the last great day.
You're such a fundamentalist.
You can be back at your house in your comfortable bed. You don't have to live with a whole bunch of people. You enjoy them one day a week or a couple days a week, but then you've been with them for like all this time. So now it's like I kind of need my own space. To be in your own space on that last great day.
Yes, you can. You can be.
So it's a different.
It is different, thing. But it's connected though.
But it's connected.
And so we see over, if we look at Pesach, you have Pesach. You have whatever Shabbat, weekly Shabbat that's within Pesach. You have that day after that Shabbat that's within Pesach, and you have the wave sheaf offering. You have that first fruits of the barley that you get and you offer unto the Most High on that first day, and then you count a whole week. Done. Another time you do it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7 times. And then the day after that 7th time, that 7th week, you have Shavuot. You can't have Shavuot unless you have the beginning, the start of it at Pesach, Feast of Unleavened Bread. And so those two things are connected. They're intricately connected, and they can't be separated from each other. It's impossible to separate the one from the other. If you separated the one from the other, you're wrong.
You just said I was fundamentalist.
I did say that. I didn't say that it was bad that you were fundamentalist. I just was stating a point.
So you can't have Shavuot in the winter,
No.
or you can't have it before Passover.
You can't have it and it not be intricately connected to Passover. It's not only 50 days, but it's 50 days some way connected to Passover.
Yes.
Now, not only that, but something happens on the initial Shavuot. Something
The
happens.
initial, which initial one?
The initial Shavuot, the first one that ever was. Not this one.
Sinai.
Yes, the initial one. The first one that ever happened in the whole world. If somebody try to talk to you about Shavuot, okay, the Torah, as we know it, the codified Torah, begins at Sinai. Nobody wasn't keeping Sukkot before Sinai. Because it didn't happen yet. It wasn't even in the wilderness. It's a wilderness thing. Or Shavuot. Because it's directly connected to Passover. And until Passover happens, none of those things existed. Okay, so somebody sit up there and try to talk to you about the Torah being from creation. You need to ask some more questions because there's parts of the Torah that didn't happen until Passover happens. You got that whole line of things that's connected to that,
Yes.
that you can't have them before they happen. Okay, but the first Shavuot, the 10 Commandments are given. Let's go backwards. Let's go back and look at some things over here because there's some vast similarities that exist between the initial Shavuot, the initial Pentecost. I call it Pentecost. I never call it Pentecost. It just sounds so Greek. It's because it is Greek. It sounds like what it is. It's not wrong. It's just preference, I suppose. It means 50, right? Let's go back to Exodus. Let's go back to Exodus and let's look at a few things because we want to talk about what is happening at the first Shavuot and what it means. And then if we could get that figured out, then we could go back to Acts and connect it back and know what it means. Because I think that this is my thoughts. I'm saying what I think. I think that the church, and when I say the church, I mean mainstream Christian church, looks at, we got a whole people called Pentecostals. Is anything that they do as Pentecostals connected to Shavuot, I'll say?
Yeah. They do the shout and the speaking in tongues.
Okay, yes, they do that. They do that. Okay, they do that.
They do it
Speaking in tongues is no.
And
We're not gonna credit that one. They ain't speaking in no tangible language. These people heard.
And they do it on Sunday.
I'm saying that we can make. That's funny. I'm saying that there's a connection. There's a connection that can be made. We don't want to talk about the right or wrong of it. I'm saying there's a connection that can be made. But what I'm saying is that if we think about this thing that happens in Acts and let that be the foundation of it, then I guess we could say that it makes sense. The issue is that we can't say that the thing that happens in Acts is the foundation of it. It's the continuation of something that already happened. And so if we don't take into account the thing that's being fulfilled, then we're going to look at Acts chapter 2 wrong, and we're going to overemphasize parts that shouldn't be emphasized at all. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to Exodus. I want to go back to Exodus and look at, first of all, let's look at 19. Exodus 19:16. Hold on. Hold on. I want to look at two things. I want to look at a few things. I don't want to say two things. It's probably three or four, maybe. Let's go to Exodus 19. And I said 16, but I want to go back before that and say 7 and 8. Let's first look at 7 and 8.
Exodus 19, verse 7. And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people and set before them all these words which Yahweh commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that Yahweh has spoken we shall do. So Moshe brought back the words of the people to Yahweh.
Okay, very good. So at Sinai, there's kind of a contract signing situation that happens. The Most High said, look, I'm taking you out from this guy over here. I'm way stronger than him. I deserve to be your Elohim. But as your Elohim, there's some things that I need from you. And if you can't do these things, then you're disrupting the nature of our relationship. And we can't have a relationship. And so here is kind of an overview of the things. Right? If we look at any law, you're gonna have kind of this main thing that what it is. But inside of those, each one of those things are gonna be like dots with like law number 1.1 and 1.7 and so on and so forth. When Yeshua says, on these two does the whole law hang? The two things that he said is love Yahweh your Elohim and love your neighbor. We can take each one of these 10 commands that we're about to see over in Exodus chapter 20 and take all of those laws and we could put them inside of one of those 10 things. And so, well, first of all, the 10 can be categorized in two. Half of them got to do with the Most High. The other half got to do with man. And so, what I'm saying is that now if you don't do those things, you're in breach. You're in breach of contract. You're in breach of contract. And so, Moses says to the people, look, he wants us to agree to this thing over here. Mm-hmm. They say, yeah, we'll agree. Well, we didn't hear what he's about to say, but we'll agree. We'll agree. Whatever he says, he done took us out of Egypt. He done destroyed Pharaoh. He buried the horse and the riders got buried in the sea. And so, yeah, whatever you want, we'll do it. It's a contract. over here, and there's an agreement that happens over here, and so we have that agreement. We have the agreement by the people. Yeah, we'll do it, and then now the Most High is going to have his part, right? And so let's go down. Let's drop down to 16. Let's read 16 through 19.
Exodus 19:16. And it came to be on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain, and the voice of a shofar was very strong, and all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was in smoke, all of it, because Yahweh descended upon it in a fire. And its smoke went up like smoke of a furnace, and all the mountain trembled exceedingly. And when a voice of the shofar sounded long and became very strong, Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him by voice.
Okay, very good. So it talks about the Most High coming and meeting with the people, and he's about to start talking. But they happen to be out in the middle of wherever they're at, but there's a I want to say there's kind of barriers that are created with this thick cloud that happens. Kind of a place is made out in the middle of nowhere, and out of that place they hear this sound that's very strong. Now, I just want to say, this is an interesting point to what we're talking about here. The voice of a shofar is interesting because, we have a shofar that's right here, but, we know that at some point there was an animal attached to that thing. And then at some point somebody cut the thing off and they hollow the thing out. Is the thing hollow? They hollow it out, right?
Well, the end part. You did it.
I know, but I feel like there was stuff inside of there at some point.
Not all of it.
I don't know. I have to see.
Yeah, because how could you get it out of these corners? Like,
Yeah, you're right. How's it coming? It's got to be
It's all the way
hollow.
at the end.
It's got to be hollow.
It's hollow.
Anyway, it has to be fashioned at some level. There's a level of fashioning. You cut the thing off, and then you blow into it. So what are we talking about here? Spiritual ramps that get their things cut off, and then somebody blows them? What are we talking about? Because what they heard was the voice of a shofar and was strong, and the people they trembled, and the thing sounded long, and it kept on sounding very long and strong. That was maybe some angels or something blowing some shofars.
Well, it was his voice. But the sounding of the shofar normally goes down, doesn't increase.
Okay, so maybe it was a regular shofar, but whoever was blowing the shofar wasn't human, because it kept on getting louder and louder.
I mean, you figure it has to be loud above the thunderings and the rumblings. You know what I'm saying? There's like a lot going on right now.
Yes.
And so just imagine how loud it has to be over the other things that are already loud.
It's so loud. The whole situation is loud. There's thunders, there's lightnings. Actually, lightning and thunder are one thing.
I mean, do you think that the Most High could have just like calmed it down, like like let's just
Yeah,
be
hold
a
on, chill, I'm talking. Kind of a thing.
Or was he really trying to like? He was like
I want y'all to know.
yeah, what it is.
I think that so. It's so funny. I think that the point that I'm making here is that the things that we're using to describe what's going on can only be described by things that we can identify with.
Yes.
That's the point that I'm getting at. I don't believe that what they heard was an actual shofar.
Right.
It was a sound that they could only describe to us by a shofar. And the sound was getting louder and louder and becoming stronger and stronger. That's what I'm getting at. And it was so amazing. There was so many things with the spiritual realm interacting with the physical realm, and there was this thick cloud that was created. Like he's in the midst of a thick cloud, but he's like, let's think about this for a while. When we think about this idea of he's inside of the presence come, and there's a thick cloud that like when I think about cloud, I think about darkness. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think it says it. Yeah. Let's go over to Exodus 20. Let's read 20 and 18. Read 18. 18 through 21.
Exodus 20, verse 18. And all the people saw the thunders, the lightning, flashes, the voice of the shofar, and the mountain smoking. And the people saw it, and they trembled and stood at a distance, and said to Moshe, you speak with us, and we hear, but let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moshe said to the people, do not fear, for Elohim has come to prove you, in order that his fear be before you, so that you do not sin. So the people stood at a distance, but Moshe drew near the thick darkness where Elohim was.
Okay, that's the part I'm talking about, is verse 21. The place where Elohim is, thick darkness was there.
Scary.
I think, to me, I feel like inside of the darkness, well, it said that there was fire and there was lightning. Mm-hmm. I feel like inside of the darkness, like the darkness is a veil. Mm-hmm. The darkness is a veil. There's something on the other side of the darkness that is making it be darkness. But the darkness is a veil, though. Just like the tabernacle. The Most High created this whole tabernacle experience where there's a veil around where he is. You know, he's light. But him interacting with this physical realm, a layer of a protective layer is what's created. But what I'm getting at is that when this happens now, we see this light flashes. We see this fire. We hear these thunderings. There's smoke. And people see all of this and they don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Like, this is very strange and scary. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what this is. Mm-hmm. But that's the Most High coming in his presence, interacting with nature. That's what it looks like. And before, like in the middle, is him actually saying what his requirements are. Yes. Go ahead.
I just was thinking, like, even what you were saying about this, like the kind of the recreation of the tabernacle within this, the fact that within the Holy of Holies there is no light in there.
There's
except
Yes.
the Shekinah, the light of the Most High, which dwells over the mercy seat.
Yeah.
There's no natural light. There's no light of the menorah. There's no light. It's all covered in darkness in there. And so it is like him bringing his throne room, down. But it's like there is something that's hidden behind.
Well,
something
I want to add to what you're saying and say that there's no natural light.
no natural.
There's no
people see darkness.
man created
Yes.
light. And then the priest, when the high priest, when he goes in, he simulates this with the censer, with the smoke that he creates. He takes smoke in there because they're recreating. I think this is some revelation right here. Recreating this thing that we see at Sinai,
Yes. Amen.
where he can't look at this thing. He's the high priest, can't be in there, but for a certain time. But he also got to sit up there and just like the built angels are doing, how they're covering themselves. He got to cover himself too with the smoke.
Yeah.
And so the Most High is covering himself with the smoke when he's coming down, but him coming down makes this fire, makes this lightning, and it's loud. It makes this noise. But he speaks though. He just got finished in Exodus 20:18. He just got finished talking. Right? He gives the 10 words. He speaks. So the description of the requirements of the covenant are what's spoken. And so the result of this presence, this power coming, is miraculous. The sound, the only way I can describe the sound is just like a shofar. But a man, if he's blowing the shofar, eventually his lungs is gonna wear down.
All the air can come out of the lungs.
But this one, instead of descending, it was ascending. It just was getting louder and louder. Okay, so this is the first Shavuot, where there's all of this amazement and fire and thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud. This covering that comes about the place where there's the ones who understand what's going on. I feel like Moses really is the only one who really understands what's going on, because he's ready to enter into the darkness and the cloud. But the other people they're frightened by it and they want to retreat away from it. And so they don't have the proper response to what's happening. They're not really in tune necessarily. The people, the masses. We know that Joshua, he's always in the wings, ready to go beyond where he's supposed to, because he wants that intimacy with the Most High. But the rest of the people in general, they're like, nah, man, this is scary. Okay, so now, that being said, let's go back now. Let's go back to Acts. Let's go back to Acts. And so they're now, again, dealing with Shavuot. The only significance that Shavuot has up until this point for them is the giving of the commandments. And when you think about the giving of the commandments, you have the giving of the commandments. You have the fact that there's this 50 days that's in between. You have the idea that it's directly connected to Passover feast of unleavened bread, the redemption of Israel, and the covenant binding that happens at Shavuot. And so for them, they know about the history of Shavuot, where it begins. But now there's this other thing that Yeshua makes this connection between his death, his burial, and resurrection. The fact that he said that at some point the Spirit is going to come. This Comforter is going to come. Let's go back. Because Yeshua is putting some color to the prophecy that the prophets said. Let's look at Ezekiel 11. You know, we always look at Ezekiel 36, Jeremiah 31. You know, there's more than just those two New Covenant verses. Let's look at Ezekiel 11. Let's look at Ezekiel chapter 11, and let's read 19 and 20.
Ezekiel 11, verse 19. And I shall give them one heart, and put a new spirit within you. And I shall take the stony heart out of their flesh, and give them a heart of flesh, so that they walk in my laws, and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim.
It's so interesting that this new covenant that is to be given, that describes this spiritual heart transplant, the end result is that you will be my people and I'll be your Elohim. But that's a thing that was talked about with the redemption of Israel at Passover. Interestingly enough. But also, this new covenant, this new thing that's going to happen, this pouring out of the Spirit, this taking away of the stony heart and replacing it with this heart of flesh. Verse 20 says, so that they walk in my laws and guard my right rulings and shall do them. And then those ones, they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. Mm-hmm. The Spirit coming has a purpose. And the purpose that the mainstream Christian church puts on it is not the prescribed, explained purpose. The purpose is so that you may walk in my ways, my laws, and so that you will guard my right rulings and judgments and do them. Right. That's the purpose. And then you'll be my people, just like before. Whatever he say, we'll do. Oh, here's the things that he said. If you out here committing idolatry, that's a violation. And so you could commit idolatry, but you got to repent and bring your sacrifice. You can sin. It's not like that. It's not like that. If you happen to sin, there's a way for you to fix the sin.
That's right.
But if you continue in that sin, you're out. And so there's a if-then relationship that exists. Okay, let's look at Jeremiah. Look at Jeremiah 32, 39 through 40.
I wanted to say something
Go
about
ahead.
that last section. So, so this basically speaking in tongues and these spiritual gifts are just like byproducts of the Spirit.
Okay.
But the main objective of the Spirit is this.
Yes.
And so the Christian church kind of like heavily, endorses the spiritual, the speaking in the tongues
one
and the
part,
healings and whatnot. But this is the main focus of the Spirit.
Yes. And which is a important point, because if I want to get from here to there, like the point is for me to get over to the destination.
Right.
That's all.
But like, you could get there by like riding a bike or putting on some gym shoes and running there, or maybe if you're old and decrepit, you could walk there. And so we don't want to get stuck on one kind of mode of transportation, when at the end of the day the idea is to get from here to there. And so what happened is, because you don't have this foundation of the Torah and understanding what Shavuot even is, you focus on this thing that happened, when meanwhile you were supposed to be focused on the destination, which was the Comforter, the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh coming to live and dwell on the inside of you, causing you to remember all that I taught you, and causing you to walk in my laws and guard my right rulings and do them. And so for whatever reason, why these people who, they spend all of this time and they look at all of these books and gain all of these letters at the end of their names, and they learn how to do these various methods of interpretation and reasoning and understandings,
Philosophy.
all of those things. They don't look at this thing right. They look at it wrong. I'm gonna say this. I said two people was wrong today. I'm going crazy right now. Just a little bit. But when you don't look at this book as an entire book and you put the foundation in the middle, you're gonna come out with a product that's not right. And so let's go to Jeremiah 32, 39, and 40. Because the people that's over there in Acts chapter 2 are waiting for two things. Waiting for a few things, maybe not just two. They're waiting for the prophecy to be fulfilled that the prophets have spoken of. And they're waiting for the things that Yeshua, who said that those things was the prophecies that was spoken of from before. They're waiting for all of these things to come to pass, and they have this anticipation and knowing that this day these things are going to come to pass. They're looking for a particular thing. All right, so 39 and 40.
Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 39. And I shall give them one heart and one way to fear me all the days, for the good of them and of their children after them. And I shall make an everlasting covenant with them, that I do not turn back from doing good to them, and I shall put my fear in their hearts, so as not to turn aside from me.
This is an interesting
Jeremiah 32.
Jeremiah 32.
32.
verse 39.
39 and 40, yes. This is a very interesting. This is why this place is the Rekakad from this verse right here. And I shall give them one heart and one way to fear me. But the thing is that this new covenant that happens, this thing that the Most High does inside of his people is for our good, for the good of us. And for not only for us, but for our children after us.
Absolutely.
He's making this everlasting covenant with us. And when he does this thing inside of us, he's doing it in such a way that we don't turn back around and start going backwards. Because why? Don't talk about the why here, but we learn the why later. He's putting the Spirit inside of us and giving us the strength, his strength in us to cause us to be able to do the things that he likes for us to do, for our good. You know, we need it. You know, inside of us is a bunch of foolishness. This carnal man, this flesh inside of us and our carnal desires and appetites. I want this. I want that. I got to have this. I got to have that. It don't even matter what happens if I get it. I just want it.
Right.
He said, it's okay. I know how this flesh is inside of you. I'm the one who made you in the first place. You need some extra strength and power on the inside of you for your own good. So I'm going to make this everlasting covenant with you. But back in Jeremiah, he don't say what the logistics are of the thing. Yeshua is helping us understand the logistics. I'm going to die. I'm going to go back to the Father. I'm going to send back the Spirit. All that stuff that the prophets was talking about, that's what this thing is about to be whenever I come back by way of the Spirit. But that's this thing right here. And so there's this anticipation. If we go back to Acts, there's this anticipation of the people for not only what the thing that the prophets talked about, but also the thing that Yeshua talked about. And he just now talked about it. Y'all hang out over here for this last, little more than a week. You hang out over here. You get your, I don't know if he told them to get their affairs in order. Peter took that upon himself, rightly so. But what they did do was come together and they stayed in one mind. They're in one mind again. They stayed in one mind the whole time. Because they're in one mind again. I don't know if they stayed in. It seemed like they did. It seemed like they stayed in one mind the whole time. Because they was the last place that we found them was in one mind, and then we find them again in one mind and in one place.
I wanted to say something
Go
about
ahead.
Jeremiah. It's an interesting perspective, when you think about, keeping the commandments. And, a lot of people look at things like, I'm trying to, please the Most High. I'm trying to do what he says to do. But the Most High put these things in place for you. So you can have good. So it can be good for you. It's not good for him. It's good for you.
It's for your good.
It's for your good. It's for your children's good. Not that you're trying to, please and you're trying to, make sure that you don't get smacked upside your head. No, it's so that it could be good for you. Because I don't know. I have, pretty, extensive life experience, and
You've been around.
Dude, yes, I've been around a lot.
times.
I did some things in my life. And I have not seen anybody who breaks the commandments that it works out good for. Now, I've seen people who've broken the commandments and then come and start trying to keep it, like myself, and how different just my life is from being on that side and being on this side and just seeing how good things can be. And so this is for our good. It's not, us, like I said, trying to, do something good for the Most High. No, that we're doing something good for ourselves. He's putting this in place for us so that we can have a good life.
I think it's so important in understanding what's happening. The thing that's happening, the Most High infusing his character into you and causing you to walk in a way that mirrors what it would have been like if you was looking at the written laws and trying to do those things. He put the laws in place so that when you do them, you look like him as a human. Like the character that you exhibit when you walk out his law, statutes, and commands is the physical representation of the character of the Most High. And so him putting the Spirit in you is not about you doing things. It's about you being a thing that is a follower of the Most High with his actual character in you, and you walking out that character. When Yeshua talks about himself as being the light, and then when he says to us that we need to let our light shine, the light that we're letting shine is him in us and us allowing for his character to be manifest through us. And so it's so important to understand what is actually happening. And then so again, when you have this thought process that, oh, you're trying to do this or you're trying to do that, you don't understand what this actually is. The new covenant is the law in my heart. The new covenant is my stony, carnal heart has been removed and has been replaced with a heart of flesh that's soft and pliable. And now my appetites, when I follow the unctioning of the Spirit inside of me, my appetites are about the things that are pleasing to the Most High. And when I do the things that are pleasing to the Most High, I'm doing things that are good for me and for the people who are around me. Like if I go around and all I do, it's just to simplify this whole thing. If I go around and just all I do is lie, for instance, like everything that come out my mouth is a lie. What is my relationships gonna be like with people?
Right.
It's gonna be messed up.
Yeah. And nobody gonna want to be around you.
Nobody gonna want to be around you. Nobody gonna trust you. We used to, there was a guy who will remain nameless from when I was in high school that he would always lie. The lies was probably mostly exaggerations. It's still a lie. But if he was telling you something that happened, you could almost 100% bet that it didn't happen like that. He exaggerated the thing and embellished the thing. But because of that, there was a certain distrust that we had with him when he talked to us about things, because he lied. I mean, if I was a murderer, like this is so basic. If I go around killing people and that's all I do is kill people, like what type of relationships am I gonna have with people as a known person that just kills people? I bet people won't want to be my friend if all I did was kill people all the time.
I guess if they wanted you to kill someone for it, or
I mean, yes, and then the only thing that they would want for me to do is something that would be bad things, the thing that I was known for. Like the relationships that I would have with people would be terrible.
Right. Yep. You be basically potentially killing somebody's father, or you know what I mean.
You would never know why I was around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And everybody would
is
be
he getting
uncomfortable.
is he
Everybody
getting ready
be
to
like,
kill me?
you know, like, what's he doing here?
But these are the things, though, right? These are the things. Like, why is this a thing? Why is that a thing? I don't understand. I don't understand why this is a thing. You know, the Most High has given us these, I want to just say that they're basic things of how to deal with one another. Boundaries. If we stay inside of these boundaries, it's going to be for our good.
Right.
It's not going to be for our bad. It's only going to be for our good.
Right.
And so he saw that the people had so much problems. He said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put my character in you. I'm not going to put the man on you and your carnal mind, because it's been corrupted. I'm going to strengthen you through my own power and presence and character, and transform you and give you the ability to be right. I'm going to take it out of your hands and not worry about your own strength and ability, but I'm going to put the ability and strength inside of you. I mean, that's what the new covenant is. And so, again, if we go back to Acts, let's go back to Acts. Because when we look at verse 2 and 3, this is a thing that mimics what we saw in Exodus. They're all there waiting with one mind in this one place. And then suddenly there came this sound from heaven. That's what happened over at the other place. This sound from heaven. It sounded like a shofar, but there ain't no heavenly goats
and it's all waiting in one place.
that someone slaughtered and took the horn off and was blowing. It's a sound came from heaven, and it was this mighty sound. Now in Acts, this sound from heaven came as of a rushing wind.
Wait, quick question.
Go ahead.
Were they blowing shofars
Who?
at that time?
Who?
Israel. Well, at the foot of the mountain. Was that something they practiced before
I
then?
don't think that they created it. I don't think it was. I think it was
So it's another,
In that area.
somebody going backwards and putting in like, oh, it sounds like a shofar.
I think that what we seen in Exodus is a description of what happened, and that's the only way you know how to describe it. It sounds like this.
Right.
That's what it sounded like. And I'm saying that we see that things over here in Exodus, in Acts, the sound was coming from heaven, and it was as this other thing that we know of, this rushing wind.
Right.
And the sound, the sound that was as this rushing wind, it filled the house where they were sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And verse 3, and there appeared to them divided tongues, cloven tongues. Look at this word here, verse 3. Cloven. Partition thoroughly. Cloven, divided parts. Okay, so they all it appeared to them snake tongues. Right? Tongues that was cut in half. Like a snake. Is that what happened? Let's look at some. Let's look at Thayer's. Because I'm not saying that, by the way.
I was like, wait a minute.
He was about to.
I was looking for it.
Like, wait a second. What did you? No, but it can't be that, right? That's not what happened. They didn't start like slithering tongues.
Right.
Like that's not what is being said right there, right? Hold on. Click on that clothing.
Wait, no.
But I want to see theirs.
Ori said Ori just came over here and said what she thought of it.
Yeah, I said that they're talking in different languages
Oh my goodness.
as in different tongues.
Oh wow. Look at 2. To be divided into opposing parts, to be at variance in dissension, to distribute. And so we see what happened. They started talking in other languages. And so their tongue, their language was divided. Their language was divided. Their tongues wasn't divided. Their tongue like a snake. But the language that they was speaking, I don't know if they was talking their own language and then the people started to hear their language, or well, they had to be speaking one language. It would be totally confusing if they were I don't know. Their language was there was a variance in their language. So was they talking and then it sounded like you ever have like, you know what I hate, just as a side note, something that I hate, I literally hate it.
Wow.
We'll be on a job site and I got my radio on, and then somebody come close to where I'm at and then they put their radio on. Like I'm controlling this space with my radio, and you want to put this noise pollution in here where there's this combating things happening at the same time. But what that is like you hear the two different things happening simultaneously.
This is
It's like having a conversation with somebody, and then somebody else comes next, and they're having a whole different conversation right next to you.
Or
come
like
on,
what it sounds like in a room where everybody's talking and you can't it just is blah, 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 blah. You
right.
can't hear what's what.
Right.
Because everybody's talking and you could hear a little bit of everything going on. So either it was that, or they was speaking whatever the way they talking, then you was hearing, but you couldn't hear that. You heard it in your language. Whatever the case may be, it said that this sound from heaven, it filled the place, and it appeared to them, and there appeared to them divided tongues, and the tongues as of fire settled on each of them. So they had these snake tongues with fire that settled on them. That's not what this is saying. It's not saying that. It's not saying that. The way in which they were speaking behaved as of fire. The language, the way fire behaves is over here, it's over there. It moves. It's kind of like wind, fire. When you look at fire, the way it moves, it just moves kind of the way that it wants to move. And so this phenomenon settled on each of the ones that was speaking as to where whenever they were speaking, the people that was hearing what they were saying, who spoke another language, were hearing their own language.
Maybe that fire is like, it's like when the Holy Spirit comes on you, it's like, fire in your bones. Like you just, you just like, you feel you know what I'm saying? You feel like you got to roll on the ground or something. And put it, like
Roll on the ground.
Like you try to put the fire, like you're on fire. You know what I mean? It's like, and they're probably like just like
But what is being described, like the describing words are connected back to what's happening with them talking though. You know what I mean? So however you think about how fire behaves or looks, because it's about Luke is describing what he's describing what is being seen. And so there is a thing that's happening where the language that the people are speaking, particular ones, because this phenomenon settled on particular ones that was there.
Is that why you said rapping earlier? They was like spitting that fire.
Yeah, I'm spitting some hot fire. But it wasn't like how you see these old pictures of people with fire that was above them. There was a phenomenon that was happening with these people where they were filled with the Spirit, and then they were speaking, and other multiple people were hearing in their own language from the person that was talking. And this was instigated by the Spirit. So we read the whole thing, and so the point of it, when it gets down to 11, the people, all of the different peoples, what they heard was the great deeds of Elohim. So this thing happened, and it happened in this way that they didn't really understand. But the thing that they heard was the deeds of Elohim. Go ahead.
I just want, and I apologize. I know you're moving on.
No, we right there. We right there.
I was thinking about the, whenever you saw his key when he first came out, his lungs was all the way collapsed. And then,
it looked like it. It looked like his
chest cavity was. It was before he took his first breath. So as long as everything was filled with fluid, but. I think the reason the baby cries at the beginning is because of the filling of the lungs, and all, like before that it's all like a water type of a thing. The filling of the lungs, all those different, whatever the lung things are, I don't even know what they're all called, all those cells getting filled with the oxygen, causing this pressure differential. Your lungs have a different pressure than the outside of your body. But that is the first time, at least, there's some kind of a pain or sensation that's attached to it. You know what I mean? Which then again, that's why the baby cries after the first breath. The thought process of that being filled with the wind of the Most High for the first time, how much of a differential is that going to cause? And what type of sound is going to come out of the body that has been filled with the Holy Spirit for the first time? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that's probably why a lot of Christians, or they might not understand why, but why they think when you get filled with the Holy Spirit, you have to have a sign of being filled with the Holy Spirit. But I think that at this time, at least, this was this thing that happened at this time, and this was the sign at this time that had happened.
Yes. Yes. And I think that the main thing to come away from this is, the text gives us this. there's many different language speaking people that's in earshot of this. Like, this is the whole point. It goes through all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of these different peoples that are from different places.
All different places, yeah.
Whether it be dispersed Israelites who moved and migrated to these other places, or converts. Because they're all there for Shavuot. They're there for Shavuot. That's what they're there for. That's the point. They're there because that somehow, not only there for Shavuot, but somehow they figured out that there's a new thing that's about to happen.
Are these
Yes.
lost tribes from all these different places?
I don't want to call them lost tribes, but I think that they are. I think that they are dispersed Israelites that live in those places, and so they have different languages. But they're there for a reason. So it even the scripture tells us there's two kinds of people there. There's Yahudim and there's converts. So there's people who are Israel dispersed in other places who understand what their culture is, and they come back on this pilgrimage feast to Jerusalem for the feast. And there's people who are converts, who are Gentiles.
Yeah, because converts couldn't be Israel. Because Israel,
Yes. So you have Israelites, and then you have people who are converted. All of them there for the same purpose. Most of them don't speak the same language as each other.
Right.
And then apart from that, you got these Galileans who the disciples, namely Peter, where they got their own dialect. So it's not like they were speaking Aramaic anyway. So it wasn't even like they were speaking Hebrew. So they might all be able to understand Hebrew from reading the text, but that don't make them understand what Peter's saying, because he's not speaking Hebrew. He's speaking his Galilean dialect of Aramaic.
Country.
Yes. If I'm speaking English and you got a thick Southern accent, there's gonna be some things like I sometimes got to pay close attention to what you. Hold on, what?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
But there's no reason for them some of these people to understand what the Galilean Aramaic even is. They don't even know. But he opened up his mouth. Many of them opened up their mouth and participated in this phenomenon of being filled with the Spirit, opening up their mouth and talking. And what you heard is different from what you heard. Well, it's the same thing now. There's only one thing being said, but you're understanding it in your native language. But that's the point, though. The point is in verse 11 that the things that they were saying was the great deeds of Elohim. That's the point. If you didn't hear nothing else I said, understand that the point is that the words that came out of their mouth was declaring the great deeds of Elohim to people who wouldn't be able to understand what is being said necessarily, because there's such a mixture of people there.
I wonder if they heard the gospel being preached. That was the great deeds.
Well, I think that what we see later on is kind of a the gospel is about to be preached. It's non-specific. We can't know what it is. But what they did, what we do know, is that the witnesses that was there understood and said that, I don't know how I'm able to hear what they're saying, because I know that he don't speak my language, but when he talked, I heard him saying the great deeds of Elohim. And then these other people are bearing witness to this. Now, and then now you also got these other people who I'm saying are outside of the dark cloud, so to speak. The people who aren't participating in all this, because it started off saying that everybody there is in one place and in one mind, and they have a particular expectation. But there's other people around who aren't participants, who don't know what's going on, because if they was, they would hear whatever is being said. And so they're like, man, what's up with these people? They drunk or something? Like they don't know what's being said. Which is interesting because what they hear, why don't they hear the disciples who's talking, why don't they at least hear their own language?
They ain't got the spirit.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that this is interesting. What I'm saying is that the non-participants who say the non-participant is a local there, but he's just still a non-participant. He hears gibberish. He don't hear nothing. Like he don't hear anything that's coherent. To him, he hears something that sounds like somebody who's been sipping on some of that sweet wine. Why don't he at least hear? Well, we don't know where this person is from. We don't know where this person is from. But it's peoples, it's mockers, it's others that are mocking. And so
Haters.
to them, like say for instance, if I hear somebody talking in another language, to me it sounds like it's another language. I don't be like, what are they, drunk? Like I know that it's another language. You know what I mean?
No, they was acting a certain way, just like
They was? Hold on. They was acting a certain way?
Yeah, they was like rolling around.
Okay. I don't know if they was rolling around.
Not rolling around, but that was the figure of speech, like somebody being on fire. But it's like when that spirit come on you, you got that power. You know what I'm saying? When it first came on them, it's probably something like they ain't never experienced before.
Well,
And just like,
it was something like they never experienced.
Yeah. It's like,
I think it's safe to say that the non-participants, I don't think it matters what type of critique that they have. They really could have said anything, I think. The main fact that they're critiquing the situation just puts them on the outside. They don't really know what's going on.
Yes.
And so I think to try to draw too much from what they're saying, I think the point is that they wasn't participating. They don't know what was going on. They're describing it in a way that is not really connected to the reality of what actually happened.
Yes.
They were puzzled. They were
They didn't have that.
amazed. They didn't understand that these people was able to understand what was going on, and they was all different types of peoples.
I mean, that would be like, I remember someone coming to our house, and it got back to me. It was a person who doesn't believe it. They don't believe in anything. They said to the other person, for them to be so religious, there wasn't a whole bunch of religious stuff in their house when I came to their house. That's what I heard. And so then I said to the person I was talking to, which this was, I said, what do you mean? When you walked in the door, there was a mezuzah on the door. Like, before you even stepped in. There was a menorah on our mantle. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going through all the stuff that's in our house. I'm like, what do you mean they didn't see anything that made us seem like we was like...
You didn't recognize the things that was there.
Yeah, in their minds, our reputation had preceded them coming to our house. So when they came to our house, they was like, I was expecting it to be more, like, there would be a whole bunch of religious stuff all over the place. And I didn't see anything in there, you know what I mean? And I think for these people, they're looking at all this, and it's just like they didn't come. I think about what Yeshua, wasn't there a part where he said, what did you come out here looking for? What did you come out here expecting to see? You know what I mean? I think that they didn't really know what to expect to even see, and because of that, they were just like, these people are drunk. Like, there's something going on here. We do see something's happening. We see something happening, but we don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, I think that is the part that's obvious. They did not know what was going on because of the fact that they weren't a part of it. They weren't like all of these other peoples. They were waiting in anticipation for what was going to happen. And then those people heard something. In their own language, they heard it. And so I think for me, when I look at this, the most important thing to gain from all of this is the fact that the message that went forth was available and able to be heard by the people that were there. Like, that's the point. That's the point that happened. That's the miraculous thing. The Peter and whoever else was there talking was able to deliver this message to people who didn't speak their language. And they was still able to deliver the message. And again, thinking about what the point of Shavuot actually is the law in your hearts.
Yeah.
So they were able to see the manifestation of the indwelling of the Spirit on these people and understand that when this thing happens, the result of that can be supernatural. To where you're able to do things that you're not able to do within your own self. These people weren't what you call the people that could speak a whole bunch of languages?
Bilinguish.
Polyglot.
Oh.
They weren't bilingual.
Bilingual.
Well, they weren't bilingual either. I mean, we just, when we went to Ghana, people over there spoke like 2-3 languages. It was nothing.
Yes, it was nothing for them. And
it's crazy.
And there was preachers everywhere.
Oh,
and the only reason why I knew that they was preachers is because I asked somebody, are they preaching? But to me, it sounded like people that was drunk. Not really. I didn't know what they were saying. I didn't understand what they were saying.
It sounded like gibberish.
It just sounded like nothing to me. It sounded like whatever language they speak. You know what I mean? Which to me, I don't understand. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know the language. But I think the miraculous thing that happens here is the fact that there is a message that needs to be spread, and that message was able to be spread, and it wasn't confined to language. It didn't matter that these people didn't speak the same language. The message was still able to go forth. that's the thing that happens right there.
I wanted to say something about the mocking,
Go ahead.
right? And so, whenever the spirit is working, there's always going to be somebody mocking. That whenever the spirit is moving, there's always going to be something to try to downplay the spirit moving. You know what I mean? Like you tell people you keep the Sabbath, they're going to be looking at you crazy. When you try to do good, people in this wicked world, people are going to be like, "Well, you don't want to hit this, man. You don't want to look at the shorty over there. You know what I'm saying? Look at this, look at that. You know what I mean? They're going to mock you and make fun of you when you do the right thing. When you follow the spirit, they are going to try to mock you to make you be wicked with them.
That's right.
Yeah. And again, that's what we see. That's what we see over here. So I think that as we begin to done this here, I think that the thing that we see is definitely a miraculous event happens. But it's a miraculous event that happens, that there's a purpose for it, which is so that all of these different language speaking peoples are able to hear what this one message is. The fact that this one message is a message for more than just the people that is doing the talking. Like Yeshua was the most intimate and the most closest with those 12 guys. But the thing that he wanted for them to spread was for mankind. For everybody. Because man is in a deprived state. Not just only Israel. Israel's in a deprived state. And the whole entirety of man is in a deprived state. And we all need to come back to the Father and get in right relationship with the Father. And this is the message that the disciples had, to repent, and for the kingdom of Elohim is at hand. And so they're able to kind of begin to give a little bit of these great deeds of Elohim. And as we go forward in the next part, Peter is about to get into some more specifics about what these great deeds are. All right, does anybody have any last questions, comments about anything? Okay. All right, that being said, it'll be done for now, dealing with the Acts of the Apostles. Yahweh will be back on next Shabbat to continue with our look at not only the Acts of the Apostles, but also the Torah portion. So, that being said, for now, we'll say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.